Dear celebrities, I'm sorry to be the one to have to break this to you, but we do not care, not in the slightest particle of an imaginary thing, what you think.
Our next guest is someone that Kanye West is actually a fan of. They're friends. Communications director at Turning Point USA, Candice Owens. Candice, thanks so much. I remember when you spoke out in favor of the president and then Kanye liked what you said and y'all became friends and met. What was your reaction as to what he did in the after show at Saturday Night Live?
Oh my goodness, I had tears in my eyes. I cannot tell you how happy I have been for the last 24 hours. A much needed reprieve from the Brett Kavanaugh debacle was Kanye West stepping on stage and saying what has been needed to be said for a very long time. Look, there is no doubt that he is one of the bravest men in America right now. The left has declared war on our American values, and Kanye is fighting the cultural front.
Yeah, here's what the president tweeted out afterwards. Like many, I don't watch SNL, even though I hosted it. No longer funny, no talent or charm. It is just a political ad for Dems. Word is that Kanye West, who put on a MAGA hat after the show, despite being told no, was great. He's leading the charge. So this was in the after the show when he was there, and evidently the crowd started hissing, and the cast was rolling their eyes. But he has not paid a price at the, I guess I would normally say the record store, but in the music industry yet. He's still selling well.
That's exactly right. And look, the president is so spot on when he talks about this show being leftist propaganda. I could not believe my eyes. I only watched it because Kanye West was performing and he's my friend and I wanted to see what he did with the show. Had no idea he was going to put on a MAGA hat. And quite literally, there was a segment where they were just over and over again saying Brett Kavanaugh cannot be confirmed, almost giving permission for the people that watched that show to be violent, as we've seen on the streets, to protest his hearings and to feel that they were justified in their actions. It's unbelievable. So what Kanye is doing is unbelievably brave, to stand up to the mob, to put on a MAGA hat and to say, I support this president. And beyond that, I'm not sure if you saw his Instagram post yesterday where he wore the hat again, and he said that this hat represents bringing jobs back home to America. It represents making sure that Americans are taken care of.
What did he say about the 13th
What did he mean about the
Amendment?
Yeah, he was tweeting out abolish the 13th Amendment. Well, that's it's 13th Amendment abolish slavery and involuntary servitude, and also allowed prisoners to be used as slave labor. What did he mean by that? He kind of walked it back in the next few tweets after that.
That's correct. He walked it back. I think that it goes back to what Kanye said about slavery being a choice. I think in many ways, Kanye believes that the amendment did not abolish slavery whatsoever, and we very much are still slaves. And that's something that he's been fighting and has been saying that. So I'm not sure exactly what he meant by saying abolish the 13th Amendment, but I do know that he believes, as I do believe, that black people today are still enslaved. Today, mentally, in the past, it was our bodies that were enslaved.
Right. And Reconstruction, we know, is a disaster. If we did it right in the 1860s, we wouldn't have had a 1960s, but we didn't. But we'll talk about that. And he also pointed out that a lot of Republicans, for the longest time, were the place to go for the African-American vote. But it's something switched in the 60s.
That's correct. And I've spoken about this all the time with Lyndon Baines Johnson, which in our school systems, it is taught to us that Lyndon Baines Johnson is the best president that ever happened to the black community, which could not be further from the truth. His Great Society Act, which proliferated the welfare state. Think about what that's brought Americans today. $22 trillion paid into the welfare system, and black Americans are poorer today than we were in the 1960s.
Even though that might not have been intentional, it's been the unintentional consequences. Right. Candice Owens, thanks so much.
We do not care.
What does this mean, though, for the Democrat Party? I think they're worried. Are they not, Candice? I mean, you've broken through in your own way in politics. You just kind of came on the scene with Turning Point USA. There are other people who are coming forward saying, the demonization of Donald Trump and the Republicans, God, the economy is doing really well. I mean, the market's down today, but, you know, this kind of stuff happens. But the stuff's going pretty well, and these people seem really angry all the time. It kind of doesn't compute at some point.
Well, the anger is masking their insecurity. They are terrified. They were not predicting this. They had no idea that there was any chance that conservatives might come after the cultural war. They won the cultural war a long time ago.
We do not care.
So for Kanye West to stand up and to say that I support Donald Trump, that terrifies them. So they're going to say whatever they can to smear him, to make sure that no other black people wake up and understand that it has been the left that has harmed our community. It has been Democrat policies that have rendered our communities in the shape that they are in today when we talk about Chicago and Philadelphia and all the major cities that they have run down. Black people are having a mass awakening, and Kanye West is a big part of the reason why.
Now, you've met with Kanye West. I guess you're going to meet him tomorrow before his lunch with President Trump. You guys struck up something about friendship. What is it with him and Trump? Is it just, you know, they're pals? Is there a path toward, you know, criminal justice reform, prison reform, other work they might do to get kids out of gangs? Like, what's the collaboration there?
Look, I don't want to speak for him, but I will tell you my assessment of it after having several conversations with him. First and foremost, Kanye is very educated about the Democrat Party and the history of a Democrat Party. Beyond that, Kanye West really does believe in uniting both sides and going forward. You know, we know the left, they want to make sure that everybody is separate. They want to keep the themes of racism alive. They like fear-mongering. Kanye West is not about any of those things. He really wants to see a world that is better than the world that we were in yesterday, and he sees a unique opportunity in Donald Trump because he sees that our president is courageous. He's willing to say the things that need to be said, and we haven't had that, certainly not for the last 8 years when Barack Obama was in office.
I think they're terrified of Kanye West. So it's like he's crazy. He belongs in an insane asylum. They don't want to actually argue about the thing, which is the failures of the Democrat Party. Candice, all right, Candice, give us an update after your meeting tomorrow with Kanye.
We do not care.
Our conservative activist Candice Owens calling out Black Lives Matter protesters who look to disarm her. They caught the attention of rap megastar Kanye West, who said he loves the way Candice thinks, and since his tweet, both he and Owens have received major blowback. Here with more on how she's responding to those attacks is communications director for Turning Point herself, Candice Owens. Candice, first off, when did you actually respond to that heckler? When was it posted, and when did Kanye West get involved?
So this was just last Friday, so all of this has transpired pretty quickly, and then his tweet went out, I believe, on Saturday, and it's been an absolute firestorm since.
And when Kanye West said, I like the way you think, when you looked at it, did you think, oh, that can't possibly be him?
Somebody actually sent it to me in a text, and I thought they were pranking me because I've spoken about Kanye West so much early on in my career here. I've said that he's the only person that is in hip-hop or that has a public stage that is willing to think independently. So I was just surprised.
What do you think about your message that he saw, Kanye West saw, that appeals to him, that he goes, yeah, I'm with her on that?
I do not subscribe to groupthink. I think independently. I'm a free thinker, and I don't believe that because I have a certain skin tone that I absolutely have to subscribe to all of these ideas, which on paper do not make any sense whatsoever.
Once I read what Kanye tweeted, I thought, I wonder, since he's getting backlash, if he regrets that. But then Ebro Darden from Hot 97, the hip-hop DJ, famous DJ, he talked to Kanye, and this is what he said Kanye said. He doubled down, basically, on Trump. Listen.
He said, I do love Donald Trump. Kanye West, quote, I love Donald Trump.
That's what I was going to ask you. People are saying that he's been saying he loves Donald Trump.
Yes.
And he said it.
I love Donald Trump.
Candice, why is that so shocking?
It's not shocking whatsoever to me. If you've been following Kanye West's career, Kanye West has always been an outlier in terms of having his own mind and thinking his own thoughts. They told Kanye that he couldn't be in fashion, so he created an entire brand. They told Kanye that he couldn't like Kim, so he married her. Okay, so this is no surprise whatsoever. This is who Kanye West is fundamentally, a free thinker.
You know, he's the same guy who said George Bush doesn't like black people at a telethon for victims of Katrina.
Yes, absolutely. And I hear people saying that all the time, as if people are not allowed to evolve and have their ideas evolve over time. And I hate that. That's exactly the idea that the left has, is that once you say something, you must always stick to it.
I never took it back.
You can't form your opinions over time. Right. Right, and I understand that, but that's something that I was 2 years ago a liberal.
Right.
So is that how we work now on the right? That we say that if you have a certain idea, you can never evolve away from it with time. So I think that's a ridiculous offense that they keep launching towards him.
Sure. Candice, excellent question. What have you learned about speaking out at UCLA, the firestorm that ensued, and Kanye backing you?
I've learned that the left would like their slaves back. They've created a system where black people are ideological slaves, and we tested this theory very quickly. He simply said 7 words, "I like the way Candice Owens thinks," and this became a front news story across every single platform that you could possibly dream of, and that is only because he is not allowed to think differently as a black man.
All right. Candice, we thank you very much for coming on live and telling us your story.
Candice, stay strong. I know this has been a difficult week for you. Thanks for coming on.
We do not care.
Some of the media reaction last night to Kanye West's lunchtime meeting with the President of the United States. Let's bring in Candice Owens. She is the communications director for Turning Point USA, and over the last couple of months, she's become friendly with Kanye. Candice, what did you make of some of those sound bites, for instance, talking about how his appearance was an assault on the White House?
Look, all of the commentary that I've heard surrounding this meeting has been absolutely despicable, utterly racist, especially coming from CNN. Don Lemon bringing up his dead mother as a means to draw blood from this man simply because he does not agree with liberal ideas, because he understands that Democrat policies have harmed the black community, and because he's bold enough to move the ball forward and start speaking about these things publicly. So it's been despicable, but you know what? Kanye was built for this.
What is he like? I know you met with him yesterday as well.
I did. I met with him just following his meeting. He is just in a very, very positive state. He's optimistic. He understands exactly what he's doing. I mean, there was a lot of happiness and euphoria in the room, and I simply said the paradigm has shifted because it has. Black conservatives will no longer be fearful. Black conservatives are willing to speak out. We are excited. It finally feels like it's our time.
We do not care.
All right, so last week, Kanye West praised Turning Point USA Communications Director Candice Owens on Twitter, saying that he likes the way she thinks. This past weekend, Candice Owens and Charlie Kirk, they went to California to meet with Kanye face-to-face. She joins us now with more details. All right, I never got to hang out with Kanye. I did meet Kim Kardashian, though. What can you tell us about it?
You know, I can tell you that Kanye has a wonderful, beautiful vision for the future of America. It's a unifying message, and this is really just the beginning of it. And I'm incredibly honored to not only be on his journey, but for him to be on mine. He understands something, and he sees something on both sides, and I really think he's going to be significant in bridging the gap.
You know, I think friends of mine have told me, maybe you agree with this, I think this has the potential, maybe I'm over analyzing this, to perhaps start a cultural shift here. It has bothered me to no end as a conservative, the lies told every election year. Republicans are racist, misogynist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, because that's not who I am or the people that I know are. And I don't hear solutions for the country for the forgotten men and women. All I hear is the same narrative every election cycle. And it frustrates me, and I do believe that to some extent, sadly, it's effective.
Look, you're exactly right. And listen, it was Andrew Breitbart that said that politics is downstream from culture. And this is why this is so significant with Kanye West, because he defines culture. He's pretty much at the top of it. And he's willing to have these conversations. He's willing to go against the grain. He's willing to put on a MAGA hat. And he understands, you know, how symbolic that was, how excited people were, because exactly what you said, they were able to say, look, I wear that MAGA hat, and I am not an awful person. So when Kanye West wears it and he says, I love Donald Trump, he is my brother, it means so much more. It reverberates around the world, and I am telling you, he's got a great mindset. He's in an incredible space right now.
I look at, for example, I just love iconoclastic people. As much as I hate Bill Maher, and I mean, he hates me and I hate him, just a fact. But it's always been people like Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh, the great one, Mark Levin, conservatives that defended him. Ann Coulter, just conservatives defend him, not liberals. Why? Why would that be, considering they claim to be the champions of free and open exchange of ideas, ideals, and opinion?
Well, I think a lot of times it's hard for them to step out of their own reality, and a lot of the things that they say are not rooted in very many facts. And I have to say, Kanye offered me a very different perspective. You know, on the right, we tend to say, and this came from Ben Shapiro, that facts don't care about your feelings. But on the left, you know, the feelings do become facts, and at some point we do have to acknowledge that. You know, their feelings have become facts, and the only way we're going to combat that is to hear them out and understand where they're coming from, and to come up with a different solution. I'm telling you, culture is that solution. They place a lot of emphasis on culture and, you know, who's wearing what hat and who says what they can and cannot think.
You know, Candice, since I've gotten to know you, I told you I am loving this trajectory. It's like a rocket ship. Your career is taking off, and you should be very proud. It's fun to watch. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much, Sean.
All right, when we come back, Kathy Griffin taking back her apology next.
We do not care.
She joins us now. Hey, I saw that Kanye was talking about these hats.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that story really blew up overnight. It was suddenly international.
Helped with the design?
News. So, you know, I'm friends with like one of the greatest designers of all time. So of course, when I had conceptualized Blexit all by myself, separate of him.
Blexit is your idea.
Blexit is me. I came up with it in February before Kanye even tweeted me. And he's a designer. So, you know, I brought him a hat that I had made, and I was like, do you like this? And
We do not care.
Now with reaction, the GOP U.S. Senate candidate from Michigan, John James, is with us, and Turning Point USA Communications Director, our friend Candice Owens. Candice was with Kanye in D.C. earlier today. You actually facilitated a phone call with me and Kanye, and it wasn't just a phone call. We actually FaceTimed. And what I really liked about it is all he wants is answers. All he wants is solutions. All he wants is opportunities. And that's what impressed me. I agree with prison reform. I agree with more jobs. I want more made in America. I want a better economy, and I want safe neighborhoods. What is there to disagree with here?
The fact that he likes our president, the fact that he's bringing forward an optimistic message. Let's be clear. The left has become the party of hate and division. Kanye is talking about love and unity and support for our president, who is doing a tremendous job. He's talking about the real numbers that are in, okay? A 400% increase in black growth in jobs and starting black businesses. A 400% increase. Black unemployment at an all-time low. President Obama brought an all-time high for welfare for black community. We had President Clinton before him, a Democrat president, who brought an all-time high for black incarceration. What is the problem here? Why isn't the black community standing with our president right now?
Did he say he was a billionaire?
Yes. Actually, Fox News reported that he's on track to become a billionaire.
How awesome. And he's talking about jobs that are paying $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. You know what? There are people that would love those jobs. Let's get them here. John James, I had the opportunity to interview you on my radio show, and I can say this, I'm on radio 30 years. You just took my breath away because of your passion. I hope the people of Michigan are getting to know you. I know it's a tough state to run for Senate. I hope the people of Michigan are hearing what I think is a great message to make Michigan great again.
Well, the people of the state of Michigan are very astute. This is a state that not only did Donald Trump win, but so did Bernie Sanders. People in the state of Michigan are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And when you look at the fact that 98% of black people vote in one party, that's the reason why we don't have a seat at both tables. I'm an independent thinker who prioritizes God and country in that order. And I will always serve the people of the state of Michigan as well as I serve the United States of America when I deployed to Operation Rocky Freedom.
John, I went through Detroit the last time I was there, and I saw one of America's great cities, and it was devastated. It was, I mean, they're selling homes for $1, knocking down entire neighborhoods to consolidate because of all the jobs, manufacturing jobs that moved out. Now jobs are moving into areas like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Ohio and Pennsylvania. I think we can revitalize a city like Detroit. Am I a dreamer or am I rooted in reality?
Look, you're exactly on track. We know that we can revitalize Detroit. But the thing is, until these economic opportunity improvements come to the people in the neighborhoods, our forgotten neighborhoods and our forgotten farms, the areas that have been neglected and failed by Democrat policies decades in the past, we've marched from Selma to Detroit. We've rioted from Baltimore to Watts, and nothing's changed in 50 years. We need to make sure that we don't just approach these issues with
neighborhoods have to be safe. Chicago's not safe. I'd love for the president to partner with Kanye and come up with answers for the people of Chicago. It is a shooting zone, and it's been happening for years, and nobody's fixing it.
Well, we need more solution. We need more leadership and less partisanship.
Yeah.
You can learn a little bit more about my candidacy on johnjamesforsenate.com, but I have the experience leading on the battlefield and the boardroom and bringing my leadership experience to solve and make our neighborhoods better, bringing everybody up and making our communities safer.
Why are people that are African Americans and conservative brutalized by the left?
Because they don't want us to be free. Listen, make no mistake, the left depends on the black vote. They have to earn more than 85% of the black vote to sustain their party. This is why they sow division. This is why they need the themes of racism to stay alive. But guess what, Sean? The black community is waking up. And that's why Kanye West terrifies them, because he's not scared in the same way that I'm not scared. And we are seeing more black conservatives waking up and speaking out against Democrat Party.
Listen, I have a little Hannity crystal ball, and what I see in my future are amazing futures for both of you with strong leadership and just dynamic personalities. I wish you both Godspeed in your mission as you move forward, and I mean that. Thank you both.
We do not care.
So Kanye West shedding some followers on Twitter because of the love that he's showing for President Trump and for my next guest. This morning, he called President Trump his brother. You don't have to agree with Trump, he wrote, but the mob can't make me not love him. We are both dragon energy. He is my brother. I love everyone. I don't agree with everything anyone does. That's what makes us individuals. And we have the right to independent thought, to which President Trump replied, "Thank you, Kanye. Very cool." It seems Kanye is okay with two terms for the president, but he also tweeted a look into the future at his own run with his cryptic 2024. And it seems that it all started after the pushback Kanye got for writing, "I love the way Candice Owens thinks." Here now is Candice Owens, Communications Director of Turning Point USA. Candice, good to see you tonight. Thank you very much for being with us this evening. I want to put up a tweet that you wrote. You said the masters control everything, including who blacks and even are even allowed to like. Kanye tweeted 7 words, and they jumped up and told blacks that they must immediately revolt. How many of you jumped up and did that? How many of you have your minds enslaved? Tell me about writing that.
It's just the truth. It's what I've been preaching about long before Kanye wrote this 7-word tweet that broke the internet, is that at once they enslaved our bodies, the Democratic Party, but today they have enslaved our minds. They have told us who we must love, who we must hate, what we must think, what ideas are unacceptable. And in the long run, it just doesn't add up. Listen, I think differently. Kanye West thinks differently. I can guarantee you if he and I get in the same room, we will have a lot of disagreements. But the one thing that we will celebrate is our right to think differently. I don't understand what's so controversial for the left to understand this. The way that they have demonized him in the last 72 hours is almost sickening, but at the end of the day, it's going to have adverse effects. I can guarantee you that.
Well, Kim Kardashian seems a bit concerned about it. She tweeted to the media, trying to demonize my husband. Let me say this. Your commentary on Kanye being erratic and his tweets being disturbing is actually scary. So quick to label him as having mental health issues just by being himself. He's always been expressive. It's not fair. I want to take a look at John Legend, too, because he is very upset. I love that great, brilliant artists have the power to imagine a better future, but artists can't be blind to the truth. Candice.
Well, first of all, John Legend has me blocked on Twitter. He and his wife made some very vicious attacks against me before Kanye ever got involved. They said some nasty things to me because I support President Trump. That's the only reason. At the end of the day, I think that this is sort of foot in your mouth syndrome with John Legend and his wife, Chrissy Teigen. They've been disgusting. They have led the pack in hate against President Trump, in so much that President Trump blocked his wife because she basically said, if you don't agree with me, I have the right to bully you. These are the celebs that say that they preach love. They don't preach love. What Kanye West is preaching right now is love. And Kim Kardashian is going to stand beside her husband and the father of her children. And I'm proud, very proud to say that I stand with both of them.
So when you look at how the African-American community has been treated by President Trump versus President Obama, you know, in terms of support, in terms of economic encouragement, in terms of empowerment, who do you think did a better job, has done a better job?
I think President Barack Obama did a better job at creating a facade. That's exactly what it was. It was a facade. It was a mirage, and we were all dying in a desert is what really happened, okay? He had tons of hip-hop artists. He had Jay-Z and Beyonce there all the time. But at the end of the day, what was going on in Chicago? Nothing got better in the black community. In fact, things got worse for the black community. He stepped out of the office, and the country had never been more divided. I never felt this way about blacks and whites when I was growing up in school. But I feel this way now because that's what Barack Obama effectively worked on. It was a way to enslave us to the Democratic Party.
You know, do you think he wasted an opportunity, President Obama?
No, I think that he never really had power. At the end of the day, he never really had any power because he borrowed a lot of money to get into office. And at the end of the day, if you borrow money, they are the people that control your strings. On the other hand, we have President Donald Trump, and he's completely free because he walked in there as a billionaire, and they tried to demonize that. He became a billionaire because of capitalism and free markets, things that we should be celebrating in this country. That is what America is all about, the American dream, and anybody can do that. I'm so happy, again, to see that Kanye West is giving the American dream back to black America.
All right, Candice, thank you very much. Very interesting to talk with you, and I'm glad you're here tonight. We hope to see you again soon. Many thanks.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Anytime.
We do not care.